So this is a video for non-homeopaths about treating influenza or you can call it the flu, and it's going to be remedies, some remedy information you can use to treat people in your family, and basically it's for lay people, so it's not comprehensive information. But it's gonna be, you might be able to treat a few cases or simple cases of influenza with this information, but you might not, right? So I don't want to give the false impression that you're gonna be able to treat every influenza case in your vicinity. You won't. And, a lot of homeopaths say that, don't say this, right? That acutes can be very difficult sometimes. And they just give you the impression that you're going to be able to treat everything. You won't, right? Homeopathy is very complicated. That said, let's get into this. So, if you have influenza, one of the biggest remedies for influenza is, of course, aconite. Of course, yes. A lot of people might be familiar with this information, but it's maybe good to put this out there. Um, if if aconite is indicated, you're gonna get really high fever suddenly, right, out of the blue, and of course, the other remedy, if you have for that, is belladonna, right? Sudden high fever, it's aconite or belladonna. And so if you see that, you're going to have to decide between those two remedies, right? Sudden high fever, and of course, as a causative factor, is exposure to cold, usually dry, cold wind or drafts. So a causative factor is also, if you have no idea what I'm saying, a causative factor in homeopathy is like an indication, right? So your family member tells you he was exposed to the cold wind, and then he got a sudden high fever. That's going to be aconite, probably. Not always. Okay, so also, if you suspect aconite, it also has increased thirst and restlessness, right? And anxiety. Um, Good. Let's move on. So another good remedy for influenza is arnica. Influenza can sometimes present itself as very as soreness, right, in the muscles, maybe in the joints, as soreness in the body. If that is the predominant symptom, you might need arnica, not always. As I said, you're not going to be able to nail down the remedy with just this all the time with this information. But we might say that if you have muscle soreness as predominating, you might need this. Um, one of the most frequently indicated remedies is arsenicum. Everybody knows this remedy. If you have if the person is very, very, very cold, chills, right? A lot of chills, and restlessness, and fear of death, and uh, and craves water, but only sips of water. That's arsenicum. Um, we can put belladonna here. Belladonna is, as I said, with aconite, the second remedy for a sudden high fever, the second most common remedy, and um, of course, everybody knows the biggest keynote of belladonna is hot head with cold extremities, right? Hands and feet icy, but the face and the body are hot. Um, Basically, you have to touch this patient, right? Touch the feet, touch the hands, and touch the head. Well, the head is, of course, going to be hot in most influenza cases, right? Um, the patient might crave lemonade, might ask for lemonade, and pupils are dilated. In very serious cases, belladonna is the remedy for influenza when it's like really bad, delirium, hallucinations, like the patient has a change in consciousness, then it's belladonna. Um, Also, the change in consciousness can be in baptisia, if like the person is acting like he's drunk or dreaming, daydreaming, then you could be baptisia. We also have what else do we have? Ryonia. The patient will need bryonia if he doesn't want to move, right? The worst thing for this patient is movement, right? You cannot get him to move. Also, he wants to be left alone, right? He doesn't want you coming in to his room and even to bring tea or anything like that, right? Any refreshments. Um, just doesn't want to be disturbed. Doesn't want to exert his body in the slightest. And is very thirsty, very, very thirsty. Um, those are the big things. Those are the two big things you might need for this one. What else do we have? Eupatorium. Eupatorium you could take if you have pains which feel like your bones are being crushed, right? Bone pains, basically. So, if you have muscle pains, I would go for arnica. If you have pains which feel like your bones hurt, I would go for eupatorium. I'm just giving up the most important symptoms, right? Of course, there's pages and pages of symptoms if you look up these remedies in the Materia Medicas. But like for somebody who doesn't want to study homeopathy too much, you might be able to catch the correct remedy with this information. Okay, you 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 ask the person what he's feeling. Of course, right? That's what first always ask. Always ask the patient what he's feeling. Yeah. Um, and he might say, "Okay, my bones hurt," so then it's a eupatorium. Or if my muscles hurt, then it's aconite. Um, if he says, "I feel like I'm gonna die. I'm scared that I might die," it's arnica. Sorry, arsenicum. Um, yeah. Also, if there is a focus on trembling, in a sick person with influenza, you know, we might think of gelsemium, trembling and weakness and chills running up and down the back. Also, for gelsemium, there's a heaviness in the head, there's a heaviness in the eyes, and the eyelids are kind of half shut. I don't know if you've seen a person like that, but it's an acute manifestation of that disease. Another remedy you might need very often is mercurius. And you might be able to catch this remedy if you notice that the patient is salivating, right? Highly increased levels of salivation. And that's the first one. And the second one, everybody knows the keynote is, of course, increased sweating. But the sweating makes the patient feel even worse. So he's complaining about the sweating. He's complaining about not feeling very good because of the sweating, because he's sweating too much. It feels like it's hard to explain, but it feels like a really bad experience for him, for this patient. Nux vomica, very, very cold, very, very irritable, right? This person is going to be very, very angry with everybody and is also feeling very, very cold. I'm just going to give you those two symptoms, okay? Yeah, maybe one more. He likes to be covered, you know, and he doesn't want any air to be let in under his covers. So, you could also think of sulfur here. Sulfur patient. Sulfur is not very frequently indicated in influenza, but it could be. It could be. Of course, we have the symptom of heat of the feet, heat in the feet. It feels like the feet are burning, heat in the head. So that's the opposite of belladonna, right? Belladonna has cold feet. And he's not cold, he's warm-blooded, right? He's not really cold. And maybe you might have offensive smells. If you notice that, then it could be sulfur. So those are just some quick tips. And there, of course, you could give many, many other remedies, but you might be able to treat someone based on this information. And thank you for listening, guys, and I'll see you guys later.